Hello, I'm Dave Covington, VDOT's I-81 Program Delivery Director. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Improve81 video series. Today we are in Salem District at the Hanging Rock Battlefield Trail to discuss how we manage environmental resources along the I-81 corridor. For that reason, I've asked Robin Simpson to join me today. Robin is the Salem District Environmental Manager. Today we're not on Interstate 81, but we're only about a half mile from it. And as we think about the three construction districts that exist along Interstate 81, we also have to consider that there are a lot of similarities within these three districts, but there are also a lot of differences. Today we are looking at Mason Creek, and I'd like to point out a similarity with Black's Run in the Harrisonburg area. Now, we have a significant widening project through the Harrisonburg area upcoming. Not only is Black's Run an impaired watershed, but it's also highly protected by the city. And we have to account for that during the design and the construction of that project. There are also unique features that exist that have to be accounted for as well. One of those features is the Cedar Creek Battlefield in the Strasburg area. We have two projects, one northbound and one southbound, that run through this area, and we have to coordinate very extensively with the resource agencies as well as internally to make sure that these resources are protected. Another unique feature that varies between districts is the geology. In some areas we have what we call karst topography, which indicates the presence of caves. Obviously we have to design our bridge foundations and roadways to account for such features, but more importantly, we need to make sure that we're not directing roadway runoff into a cave. Another common theme along the corridor, but one that we only have to deal with in very limited areas, is the Appalachian Trail. In the area we're in today, there is a crossing of the Appalachian Trail and it runs parallel to the southbound lanes. For the exit 143 to exit 150 widening project that's coming up, we've made sure that we do not impact the Appalachian Trail at all. Another common feature that we deal with along the corridor is noise barriers. We perform analysis based on federal guidelines and reach out to property owners to make sure that they actually want noise barriers installed in front of their property.
Along the 81 corridor, there are threatened and endangered species that have to be taken into account when we're working on projects. Some are specific to each area and some are across all three districts. We have three distinct bats. We have the northern long-eared bat, the Indiana bat, and the tricolored bat. We look for these underneath bridges, and we also do acoustic surveys to see if they are flying through the project area. There are aquatic species as well, such as the Roanoke log perch, the James spiny mussel, and the yellow lance, as well as, specific to Salem, the smooth coneflower and the Virginia fringe mountain snail. When we're doing the field work, we will look at the area, and if we find habitat or the species itself, we will go back and coordinate with the appropriate agency and find out what avoidance and minimization measures need to be taken in order to proceed with the project. These avoidance and minimization measures could include time of year restrictions, which means project can only be accomplished during certain times of the year, or they could ask us to avoid an area altogether for just a certain time period until it is safe and we've protected that particular species. One of the unique areas that we have in Salem District along 81 is at exit 150, where we have a pollinator habitat. This was established a while back and will continue to be there during the new project that is coming through with exit 143 to 150. If you look at this site, it may just look like weeds, but there are specific plants that are used to attract these pollinators. This site did not come about as part of a regulatory requirement. It came about as VDOT's contribution to environmental stewardship, and it will not be impacted as part of the exit 143 to exit 150 project. While a lot of our environmental work is regulatory directed, we do take great strides in contributing to environmental stewardship and to show that we care about our community and those around us.
And finally, another thing I'd like to touch on, which is really important, is environmental compliance during construction. We've made great improvements over the years, making sure that our contractors are complying with environmental requirements that we include in the contracts and that are required by permitting agencies. And really the success has come from more involvement of our environmental specialists during the construction phase. And now I'd like to thank Robin Simpson for joining me today for this discussion. And I'd like to thank you for joining us for another episode of the Improve81 video series. As always, I encourage you to visit Improve81.org to learn more about our projects and our environmental management strategies.